All right, today we are going to look at how to take some equations and figure out what kind of a conic we have, whether it is a circle, parabola, ellipse, or hyperbola. Okay, those are all the different conics that we have looked at in this section. And now we're going to talk about, excuse me, how to go through and figure out which one is which, just based on the way it's set up. Now, just a reminder, I want to go through and talk about what the equations of each one of these have been. Okay, the first one that we talked about was a circle, is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared was going to be equal to r squared. That was the first conic that we looked at. Okay, and if you remember, that was all the way back in, I think, 9.2 is what we looked at. H and k was the center of that. R was going to be the radius. Okay, and obviously a circle was going to be something like that. The second conic we looked at actually had two different forms for the equations. It's y minus k is equal to a times x minus h squared. Now, what that was going to be, that was our U-shaped conic. H and K still were going to be the vertex. A told us basically the relationship with the focus and the directrix. Our second equation was this. X minus H is equal to A times Y minus K squared. You can see, very similar concept here, except, I guess I have those backwards, guys. I'm sorry. This should be the U-shaped graph, and then this would be the C-shaped graph. Okay, so very similar setup, just depends on where the A value is really going to be. Now, ellipse was what we talked about for 9.4, and what this was going to be an oval. Okay, we had two possibilities on that. There was the vertical ellipse that was stretched out up and down, or there was going to be the horizontal ellipse that was stretched out left and right. Now, our equation for this was x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared. And that was going to be equal to 1. Now, if you remember that A and B value, that tells us left and right. Whatever number was underneath X told us left and right. Whatever number was underneath Y was going to tell us up and down. And then the last one is what we just got done talking about, was the hyperbola. Okay, and if you remember, we had two different possibilities. We had the up and down hyperbola, and we also had the left and right hyperbola. Now, there was two different types of equations for that. There was going to be x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared is equal to 1. Or there was going to be the y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared is equal to 1. Okay, very similar to the ellipse, but as you can see, we've got minus, and it is possible for us to have y squared there in front. Okay, so these are the four different types of equations that we have looked at throughout this chapter. Okay, now what we're going to get to, as you can kind of see as you glance to the bottom of your paper, is how do we determine what type of a conic we have based on some different properties. Okay, and those different properties are these three questions. What we're going to do is go through this progression of questions each time to try to determine what type of a conic we have. Okay, so question 1, does the equation have both x squared and y squared? Okay, so this is a yes or a no question. If this is a yes, there are three possibilities for us. Our conic could be a circle, our conic could be an ellipse, or it could be a hyperbola. Okay, and again, that's if we are able to answer yes to this, that has both x squared and y squared, it's going to be one of those three. Now, if it's a no, we can automatically say that it's a parabola, okay? Because if you go back to our equations for a parabola, only x squared or y squared was actually going to be in there, not both of them. Okay, so that's question number 1 that we want to go through. Question number 2, are they both positive, or are they one positive, one negative? Okay, now essentially the parabola is done. So now we're just talking about circle, ellipse, and hyperbola. If we are able to say that they are both positive, what that means are both x squared and y squared positive, it's one of two possibilities. It's going to be a circle. I think I spelled circle wrong there, guys. I'm sorry. Or it's going to be an ellipse. Okay, that's again if both x squared and y squared are positive. Now on the flip side, if you see that one is positive and then one is negative, what does that leave us with? Well, that's going to be a hyperbola. Okay, because if you think about what we've talked about with the hyperbola, it's always been x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared, or vice versa. So it's going to have one that is negative. Okay, and then our third and final question, are the coefficients of x squared and y squared equal or not equal? Now, just a reminder, when we talk about coefficients, that's going to be the number in front of x squared and y squared. Now, if they are equal, meaning they're the exact same number, then we can say that it's a circle. And that, which makes sense because it's going to be completely round and have the same distance all the way around. Now, if it's not equal, that leaves us with an ellipse. So those are the three questions that we're going to ask for each and every single one of these conics. Okay, we'll start with all four possibilities: circle, ellipse, hyperbola, and parabola, and just kind of narrow ourselves down. Okay, so either it's a yes or no, they're both positive, one's negative, or equal or not equal. Okay, so if we can keep that same progression all the way through, we're going to have no problem trying to figure out these conics.